Thank you, Mr. President.
Now, Mr. President, at this juncture, I move to adopt Senate Bill number 1306 as reported out under Committee Report number 4, subject to style. I so move, Mr. President.
Senate Bill number, there being no objection, Senate Bill number 1306 is hereby approved on second reading. Oh, before we,
Yes,
Find the
you can.
Yes.
I just want to make my no vote of record, Mr. President.
okay, there's an objection from our distinguished colleague.
No, not objection, Mr. President. It's not an objection, it's a no vote.
Sorry, it's a no vote, yes. My apologies.
So it's now approved on second reading. We congratulate our dear colleague, Senator Amy Marcos.
At pangalawa po, Mr. President, here is where I would like to ask if the Madam Chair is amenable to reconsidering the proposal to hold the election in May 2023 instead of December 2023. And I'm asking this as many of the barangay leaders, people's organizations, and other stakeholders I've talked to are inclined to support the more reasonable holding of elections in May 2023 for several reasons. It is within the 7 months needed preparatory time by the COMELEC, less required additional funding to support the elections, enable our barangay and SK leaders to serve office for 5 years. Although not as much as almost double their original 3-year terms if we postpone till December 2023. And lastly, so we can align the next dates of the elections with that of the period of 3 years, as anyway also proposed in the committee report. So at the proper time, I will propose this amendment and hope for the consideration of the good chair.
Yes, thank you very much. And that has been much discussed that May 2023 was more attuned to the purpose of this postponement. However, given that the principal reason for the postponement to December 2023 is to allow the reforms to be debated, to be properly formulated, and finally enacted, there does not seem to be adequate time given that we are confronted with the passage of the budget for the next couple of months. There is a great deal of unfinished business. Hence, the 7 months tolling will not really begin immediately, but will actually have to start by next year, during which the complete release of funding may be delayed as well. So these are the concerns, but we will certainly listen to our minority senator.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will, however, based on that, need to reiterate my concurrence with one of the opinions profferred yesterday by the minority leader in his interpellation of the good chair, that if the reforms we want to implement in our electoral system are the main reason to decide one way or the other on this bill, edi pwedeng gawing bahagi na lamang yung pagtatrabaho sa mga reformang iyon right after either as scheduled or earlier scheduled elections for the barangay and SK. And perhaps consistent also with the preference of our young leaders in the model SK network, this matter of the one proposed amendment on the date will necessarily become a prejudicial question for this representation. But thank you very much. At Yamanak, good Madam Chairperson. Salamat kaayo, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. And we will consider all the suggestions of our minority leadership.
Majority Leader.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, Mr. President.
Nag-amend ako.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President,
Are there other interpellators?
Period now of
No more? May we close?
Close the period of interpellation.
Mr. President, with the consent of the chamber, no member wish to interpellate, Mr. President. I move that we close the period of interpellations and debate.
There be no objection to the motion of the Majority Leader. The period of interpellation is closed.
Mr. President, I now move to open the period of amendments.
The period of there being no objection, the period of amendments are.
Thank you.
With no committee amendments, Mr. President, considering that this is a substitute bill, I now move that we open the period of individual amendments.
Yes.
There's no objection to the motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we recognize the sponsor, Senator Amy Marcos, for her individual amendments.
Our distinguished colleague is recognized.
Yes, the committee has accepted the amendment from Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. In page 2, line 20, after the period, delete the quotation mark and add the phrase as follows. Provided further, comma, that individuals otherwise eligible as candidates in the December 2022 Sangguniang Kabataan elections shall still be qualified to run for the December 2023 Sangguniang Kabataan elections, subject to style, Mr. President.
Is there any objection to the amendment? There being none, the amendment is accepted.
Yes, Mr. President, just to put on record that Senator Alan Cayetano would like to express his sincerest thanks, Mr. President, for accepting this particular amendment, and we share his sentiment. Mr. President, that is the extent of the individual amendments, and so with the consent of the body, I move that we close the period of individual amendments.
There being no objection, motion, the period of individual amendments are hereby closed.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Thank you, Mr. President.
Now, Mr. President, at this juncture, I move to adopt Senate Bill number 1306 as reported out under Committee Report number 4, subject to style. I so move, Mr. President.
Senate Bill there being no objection, Senate Bill number 1306 is hereby approved on second reading. Before we
Yes, you can.
Yes.
I just want to make my no vote of record, Mr. President.
okay, there's an objection from our distinguished colleague.
No, not objection, Mr. President. It's not an objection, it's a no vote.
Sorry, it's a no vote. Yes, my apologies.
So it's now approved on second reading. We congratulate our dear colleague, Senator Amy Marcos. You want to speak? You want to speak? Go.
Suspend.
President, I move that we suspend consideration of this Senate Bill number 1306 under Committee Report number 4.
There being no objection to the motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move for 1 minute suspension. Mr. President.
Session suspended for 1 minute.